Day 57, I get to go home to Butte in just a couple of minutes, and you can probably tell by the way I look that I need to go home for a little bit. I don't feel as bad as I look, really. I swear I don't. Today's floor session only lasted 40 minutes. It was really easy. There were not very many no votes, and people, for the most part, didn't stand up and discuss things. They just stayed in their seats and voted yes or no, so it helped us get through a lot of bills really quickly. A couple I wanted to point out: House Bill 9 was appropriations for the Arts Council. A Republican was carrying the bill, and it was unanimous out of appropriations, which means every Republican and every Democrat who decide where to spend our money agreed that we had this money and that this is where it should go. And still there were 31 people who voted no, and I felt like they were just voting against spending money on the Arts Council, which is such an important part of just a well-rounded human being in education in general. So you might want to look up the vote on House Bill 9. Another one that baffled me was House Bill 101, increased the rates for children's Medicaid reimbursement. It was the result of an interim study. We have the money for it. It was a Republican carried bill that came out of Health and Human Services, and 8 people voted no on a bill. This bill especially is needed really, really badly. There was a study done that found out that the state was not paying nearly as much as it should be for children's services, and then nothing got done about it. And so this session they said, oh, we actually should have increased those rates, and we didn't. So our bad. Let's fix that. The other bills were OPI reporting, unclaimed insurance benefits, mortgages, small business impacts, emergency epinephrines in schools, sacramental wine, school district cooperatives, vehicle registration, the Board of Barbers and Cosmetologists, and in-district school assignment appeals. So just a really wide variety of topics. Senate Bill 139 was a veto possibility. It is the one that dealt with small business impact reports, and the Democrats got together and found 3 ways to amend the bill that would have helped us support it, and came to the committee and brought these 3 amendments, and the Republicans on the committee didn't really like it. And we said, listen, we kind of think this might get vetoed. We're not sure. No, we haven't talked about it yet, but there's no way that we can support it without all 3 of these amendments. There was one amendment that the Republicans particularly didn't like, so they made a motion to segregate the amendments and vote on them one at a time. But the reasonable folks on the committee voted with the Democrats to keep the amendments all in one package. So it's just an example of how things can really get done in committee. And then this bill on the floor today had almost a unanimous vote. So with that said, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the pensions that you might have been reading about in the papers or hearing about. Pensions, just another word for retirement. I think normal people call this a retirement, don't they? Montana's constitution says that our public retirement systems have to be actuarially sound. Actuarially sound is basically, if you think of your mortgage, thinking that the money you're going to be making in order to pay for your mortgage is going to be enough over the course of the next 30 years to eventually pay off your house. So the money in minus the money out balances for a certain amount of time in the future. And our systems for our public employees and for our teachers are supposed to be it's called amortizing in 30 years or fewer. And this hasn't always been the case. Years back, it used to have to amortize in 70 years or even more than that. So seeing it cut down to 30 years is relatively new. But whatever, if those are the rules, then we can do the math and figure out what we have to do to make these amortize in 30 years or fewer. Governor Bullock has 2 bills to fix these systems, House Bill 377 and House Bill 454. They both require higher contributions from employees and from employers. So employees and employers both contribute to the retirement system. And then there's a board that is charged with investing that money. And the money that was in the system, in the account that had been invested, basically got wiped out just like everybody else's money in the Great Recession. And since then, because we have a really good board of investments, it is getting fixed. It is on its way to amortizing in a reasonable amount of time. And our board of investments does a crazy good job. They have a rate of return of almost 10%, and I'm not making that up. That's actual data. And that's huge. That's way better than other boards of investments, way better than most of the investments you and I could find, go out and get on our own. And so when you hear conservatives talk about these rate of returns, they kind of make fun of people who say that you can plan a retirement system based on a 7% rate of return, because that's through the roof. No one gets that. But if you look at the data on what our board of investments have been repeatedly bringing in over the last several years, it has been almost 10%. So there are two good pension bills that I just talked about. There are also two bad pension bills. House Bill 358 and Senate Bill 333 both change the pension system for new hires. And so the pension system as we have it now gives security for people who are public employees or teachers or firefighters, police officers. All of these people are covered under these retirement systems. And it gives security. So you know if you come to the state or you stay in the state and you get this job, that you're going to be able to retire with some amount of a retirement, and stay in the state and keep your home and live modestly. And if we change the system for the people who are starting jobs in Montana now, first of all, I don't think nearly as many people will go into these fields, because why would you want to go into a field when you're not going to be able to retire? You don't make enough money to privately invest on your own to plan for your retirement. You just don't. You barely make enough money to pay your bills. And on top of that, you also are not going to have the security of a retirement from the retirement system when you've worked for 40 years. So the bills are really unfair to workers. I really hope they don't make it out. The plans that we have help our retirees retire with dignity. We're not talking about, like huge slush funds. There's not a public employee that retires and is able to vacation across the world and collect cars and yachts. We're talking about enough money that after you've worked your entire life as a teacher or a fireman or a police officer or a public employee, like cleaning the Capitol, that you can still continue to pay your bills and afford insurance after you have worked for decades for the state. It's not too much to ask. So if you have retirement or pension questions, feel free to email them or post them, and I'll try to answer them in the next videos. I know it's confusing for a lot of people. It's confusing for us. We have meetings all the time to try to learn about these systems. So today is St. Euros Day. The Finnish version of St. Patrick's Day, kind of. And so happy St. Euros Day and happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. And if you're going to Butte, I'll see you in the parade tomorrow. Have a great day.